Peace, family. I'm Chidiki, aka Chi Vital, and I'm back with another tool for your toolkits. What's up, gang? Hey, shouts out to the HOC and the Coke College. Gang, that's the family. Shouts out to the gang, Fairy Gang Luminaries. I welcome you all to another episode of the House of Chi. Y'all, I am delighted to share with you some very cool and applicable tools for the space in which you are delving into very deeply. The subject is pretty close to my heart as I realize many of you, whether you like it or not, are going to be tapping into and experiencing, if even for a moment, what it's like to be in the life of a medium to some degree. And with that, the download for today is that I should come here and drop some information in regards to protection against the forces that you are you're going to be dealing with, that you're going to be dealing with in a more, this is not like an entity, like me and an entity type of thing. I'll explain. But get your notebooks ready because whether you're new or you're seasoned, if you're seasoned, I'm glad for you to be here because you're definitely going to be welcome to drop some ones in here when you know I'm spitting the truth. Okay. If you're new, this is going to help you put a lot of things in perspective. I already know because when I receive certain information to share with you all, I'm already tuning into. Like somebody needs a little bit of to feel more settled. They feeling a little unsettled. Somebody, whoever it is, whether you're new or not to this channel, somebody is in need of some reassurance as to what in the energetic, psychic realm, new abilities am I experiencing, and how do I exist in this new space, right? So I'm gonna start from the top. What I feel is the top, right? Um, of where this kind of stems from. Okay, so when you're ready, let me see the ones in the chat. Let me see your notebooks. Shouts out to everybody lighting up the chat with the fairies. I love y'all. What up? What up? Welcome, Kira. Welcome, Faith E. Welcome, Erica. Amenta, peace to you. Q Alchemist, Luna Ray. Hey. All right, so here's the deal, y'all. First and foremost, when someone, anyone, okay, this is my belief. There are many who believe the same thing as I do. For those who don't believe, I'm gonna just tell you they don't know. All of us human beings have the ability to tap into a level of psychic energy. Period. Debate me, argue with me. Every human being, okay? Whether you don't need cognitive abilities for it, okay? So, anyone who has some type of mental delay or cognitive delay, they too sometimes are more psychically inclined than those who are very, very mentally sharp. All right. Physical abilities has nothing to do with it. Language has nothing to do with it. Race has nothing to do with it. Being in this body as a human being, you have the ability to tap into psychic abilities. All right. That's the baseline. So while you have that potential is what potential does. Okay. What would be required in order to tap into it, meaning tap the tree to let the sap come out so that you can actually taste that experience would require a level of discipline. Discipline just means that you have a routine of doing something specifically geared to increasing your sensory perception beyond your immediate environment. And the number one discipline for that is a consistent meditation practice. Write that down. Okay? For those of you who are wanting to make sure at some point in time, because hopefully, right, all of this information that is being shared, you'll stick with it and you'll reach a place where you'll be able to pass this knowledge on in a very succinct, helpful, responsible way. Okay? That's why you're taking the notes, not just for yourself, but to be able to pass on to your children, your loved ones, or your community in some form or fashion. Okay? And if you choose to do that, that you will do it in such a way that is safe, helpful, meaningful, and true. So we have the meditation practice. The meditation practice, consistently over time, there are various types of meditation. Two in particular that are very powerful in increasing your ability to expand or strengthen your psychic abilities would be meditations that are done in complete darkness. Okay, that's absence of natural light or artificial light, just complete total darkness, or using a mask, an eye mask, and breathing meditations. Okay, those two would be the top meditations for preparing yourself to increase your psychic abilities. The third one I would mention would be a meditation that includes particular incantations that invite spirits to work through you that have access, direct access to the unseen. And therefore, when they're activated, they can see through your sensory perception, utilizing your body as a vessel. And because there's a marriage there, right? You're going to have the energy coming from that energy filtering through you, and you'll receive that information that will otherwise be hidden to the regular human being who is leaning on their own inherent psychic abilities. You get that? And does that make sense for you all so far? So there's three particular meditations that I'm focusing on here as far as disciplines. We have the meditations in total darkness, absence of light. You have your breathing meditation, okay, where you're focusing solely on breathing. And there are various types, okay? And then thirdly, we're not just talking about leaning on your own potential for expanded psychic abilities, but adding to your potential by creating a type of relationship or marriage or harmonious agreement between you and your physical body, mind, and spirit, and the abilities of an energy that already exists within the hidden or the unseen realm. Okay, to utilize your sensory uh, organs to create the picture that can be communicated to your brain for either communicating it to other people or for your own use, whatever. Okay? And the incantations that come along with that, all right? The callings, the incantations, whether they are poems, songs, orikis, pontos, spells, all of these are callings. All right? They are special formulas of word sound powers that create a vibration that matches the vibration that the energy recognizes in order to show up and become interested in your proposition. Okay? So this is now we're on the next level. All right, we started with everyone inherently has the ability to tap into psychic abilities. Okay? By psychic abilities, I want to define it as, just for clarity, y'all, being able to see what the naked eye um, otherwise wouldn't see, hear from what would usually be invisible, um, experience dreams from a more vivid, controlled, or informative space. And I'll get to that. Pretty much being able to, I will include in there being able to have premonitions that are accurate, which is predicting the future, or even being able to see into the past. Okay? When we realize that time is not linear, being able to see the past very clearly is just as powerful as being able to see the future very clearly, because the two relate to one another on one stream of time. Okay? They're happening at the same time, theoretically, because there's no real, like, time is more this way as opposed to this way. All right? Let me see some ones if we are good with where we are so far. You follow? Okay. So highlight that I inserted that incantations or different forms of calling amplify your ability to tap into the psychic realm. Okay? Noted, it's not necessary, but it gives you a whole nother access, because now you're not working alone. You see what I'm saying? All right. Now, for the opportunity to win a free fairy oud from the House of Chi, from the Fae line, right? You got the Crystal Fae, the Night Fae, the Bella Fae. What do you think is one particular primer outside of the meditation practice and the chanting incantations or the callings that assist in you developing your psychic powers? I'm going to see if y'all are aware of what are the reasons for particular things. Name one thing that you can do to help make the meditation process and the calling process that much more potent. That's a good answer, Faye. That's a good answer. I'm gonna give you that. That's not the answer I was looking for. Amenta, you got it. You got it, Amenta. You got it. Amenta got it. And the reason why, text me, text me your name and address. I'm gonna mail it to you. Okay. Um, the reason why I'm going with fasting, right? One, if you're doing the meditation practices and you're doing the calling practices, I'm going to assume that you're not doing it to prove yourself wrong. You're doing it because you believe in it. You see what I'm saying? That's why I wasn't looking for that answer. But fasting is a very potent um, way of amplifying that psychic energy. All right? So, if you have a consistent fasting practice along with when you start doing these meditations and then you're doing the callings, you are definitely going to increase your psychic ability. Well, while that all is like the thing that people are running to, because everybody wants to be a psychic, everybody wants to have very fun. I mean, it's exciting, right? It's like a thrill. It's a thrill to get into this realm of experience. It is. That's a fact. It is thrilling. It's way better than TV. You know what I'm saying? Okay. It's like the thing that informs artists to write the things on television that are actually interesting to us anyway. You got me? Cool. On the flip side, once you become really sensitive, yes, Mystic TV, once you become really sensitive, this is the part that can make or break a person who wants to continue in this space and the person who would prefer to go back to not seeing at all. All right. And I want to talk about these things, especially because I have a very strong inclination that for some folks, they knew that they were tapping into something, but now they're taking it to the next level and they might need to have the language to spare them the heartache and headache of what happens amongst, in magical terms, muggles, right? Because some of y'all, I watch Wednesday, right? That shit series was good. Um, Sometimes that that road can be so lonely, but you know what? I don't think it has to be. I think it can be very lonely because for such a long time, there's been so much red tape and taboo thrown onto the individuals who experience that while you either are feared but with a reverence, or loved with some caution, if you yourself have more access to the language and the understanding um, of what's happening, you'll be able to connect better with sound individuals who share the same abilities. You'll be able to be in your own space on your own and feel more at ease. And you'll be able to navigate when you are around others who are not in the practice, um, but you can feel and see them anyway, right? So, what do you do about that? First off, the reason why the consistent practice, I'm gonna let that breathe. Y'all good? Y'all got this right now? All right. So, first off, the reason why the meditations and the fasting, um, and the I think I already spoke directly to why the callings increase your abilities, right? But let's speak to the fasting and the consistent meditation practices. So remember when I said some people who have some like cognitive delay or challenge, how they can tend to be even more psychically inclined because the space that dense thinking takes is not there. So their sensory portions are more open to subtle energy. Psychic energy exists on a subtle level. You wouldn't say someone is psychic because they can see that there is a square on the wall, right? It's dense, you can see it, everyone can see it unless you're blind. However, if someone was blind and they had a very strong sense of psychic energy, they may not see with their eyes the square on the wall. They may easily feel the shape, but more importantly, they may also pick up on the energy that exists where the person who is not psychic sees some type of fabric on the wall. But unbeknownst to them, there's an energy. Okay? Um, so that's the thing. When you're meditating and you're tuning inward, all right, when we block out the light, it is to send you further inward so that you're seeing from your inner eye as opposed to your external eyes. Okay? When you're sitting in meditation, you're training your perception. Okay? Your spatial perception. You're training yourself to strengthen the parts of you that you don't use in the physical realm. Much like when you go to sleep at night and you're dreaming, those senses that you use to move your body around, to speak, to open doors, to jump off of buildings, to all of those things that you're doing, those are not the abilities that you use here, or else why aren't you flying? Right? Why aren't you able to just be here and there at the same time, right? How many times do you experience that in the dream realm? You're in one space, but you can totally see what's happening miles away somewhere else. And then suddenly you pop up there. These are things that you're strengthening when you meditate in total darkness, when you intentionally sleep without any interruption from light. Like light interrupts that realm. Okay, you need that black canvas in order to draw, paint, and see outside of what you are picking up here. Okay, um the next thing is that our gut our gut is another brain. So eating a lot of things is the equivalent to you reading a lot of stuff. Like, you're listening to a bunch of music, you're flipping through Facebook, you're flipping through IG, you're reading a ton of books at the same time. It's like you are creating so many distractions for your brain to digest. It's the same way as when you're eating. Your brain, the gut intelligence gets distracted because it's now pulling energy from up here, right, in the higher conscious realm, down into the gut to do digestion, which then sends you further down, right, into the elimination process. And it's continuously increasing the physical body to engage in the physical practice. Like the more you eat, the more your body has to practice digesting, practice digesting, practice digesting. But when you start to eliminate the need for the body to be digesting this physical food, you clear up space and send energy higher into the realms where you need more clean slates to imprint information that's coming from the subtle world. Press one if that makes sense to you. And you can fact check me as well. Like the stomach is definitely another brain. So the more that you're putting food into it, you're giving it information that it feels it needs to process. Okay? And funny enough, the processed foods require even more processing, which is so bizarre, right? All right, so when we clear the gut, what's this thing with this prism water? I want to speak to that because why prism water as opposed to regular water, if that's the case? Because wouldn't regular water offer you less for the gut to digest or think about? Um, I think you all are pretty clear about that. Um, the prism water. Someone said it seems more refreshing. All right. So here's the thing about parasites in the body. Okay. So we don't really think, unless like you're eating meat, you probably don't think about, oh, I'm eating parasites. Okay. But we have parasites everywhere. We have parasites on our skin, in our hair, on our pillows, on our sheets, on the steering wheel, under our nails. You know what I'm saying? Like we have parasites everywhere. The thing about the prism water is that you're ingesting something that remains alive, that can interface and kind of snatch, right? Snatch, neutralize, and remove the parasites that otherwise would be distracting you because they're more irritating. They're irritating because they want to pull more energy from the outside, and if they can't get it from the outside, they start to eat you. Okay? So if you're drinking the regular water will give them the upset of, oh, they're not giving me any energy. And so they get weaker, right? And you're starting to flush out and flush out. But when you're drinking the water kind of with soldiers in it, right? Not only is the water come flowing through, but the water comes through chopping heads. Like that prism water is like sharp crystal. Pow, pow, pow. So it's like it speeds up the process, which is why very quickly you start to feel less hunger, because the hunger is coming from the parasitic brain telling your higher mind that you need to eat, you need to eat, you need to eat, you need to eat, before there is a real need to ingest calories that are necessary for your wholeness. Make sense? Or when I say make sense, I mean, do you understand that the way that I broke that down? All right. So you got your fasting and you have your meditation process. And now you understand why you're not as easily distracted. Because I know that we can feel like I shut off my phone, I shut off the computer, I'm listening to just positive frequency or music that doesn't have any lyrics. I'm still feeling a little bit of distraction, and I'm still feeling kind of driven to do these things. And funny enough, the parasites inside, while they might be moving you towards wanting to eat like cookies, they also know that they're very intelligent. They know that if they distract you enough, they can get you to get on a device before you go for the cookie. If they get you onto the device, then they relax that security system, right? You go numb, you reach for, without thinking, the cookie, and you'll get more cookies into your system by a secondary experience, right? Because when you're sitting in front of a device, you might also be attached to a habit of snacking, and the parasites know that. That's why we want to quickly eliminate the parasites the best way possible, because they're so intelligent that they know you're going to open the fridge and see cookies and go, I ain't eating cookies. Because the fridge is not something that is like when you open it, like you definitely are going to be seduced by the slice of cake that you left in there before you started your fast. No. But if I can get you to relax your security system by being on a device or getting into an argument, and now you're emotional, I know it's going to send you to go and eat the thing that is going to make it even harder for you to get back into that place of being very assertive about protecting your mind, body, and spirit while you build up your psychic abilities. Okay? So know that temptations that are not directly food are more trickier than the actual food that you're avoiding being in front of your face. And the quicker you eliminate those parasites, is the more what you desire changes and the relationships are different. So instead of craving to get in front of the computer, you'll be craving silence. Instead of craving music with words, you'll be craving soothing instrumental music. Instead of craving watching a movie, you'll be craving reading a book. And it's all tied to your gut and your consistency when it comes to the meditation practice. Okay? So, I said that now that you reach a place where the distractions are eliminated, um, you become more sensitive. You become more sensitive to the point where not only are you becoming more aware of your own perception, your own emotions, your own triggers, your own patterns, which can make you way sensitive, because when we start to see ourselves for all of our shit, not just like the amazing things that we think about ourselves when we look in the mirror or we look at our accolades, but the areas of ourselves where we're like, God, Lee, I'm like really sabotaging this area of my life for myself. Or like, dang, why am I still in this space that really sucks for me? And why does it suck for me and I'm so attached to it? You know what I'm saying? When you become sensitive or more aware of the self, you become more sensitive to that aspect that wants to judge it. And when we're in that vulnerable space of judging ourselves, because forget when our whole hang up about how other people think about us, how we feel about ourselves really is the next baseline to how we respond to how other people feel about us. All right. This is another page from my shadow work book, is how we feel about ourselves and how we handle how we're able to perceive our relationship to ourselves in our external environment as well is going to be the level of grace that we can have when other people either project their judgments about us or non-intentionally project how they feel about us and how they treat us. Okay? It's a vulnerable space to be in, because when you become aware of yourself in that amount of light, now you're trying to learn how to balance out agreeing with everybody else outside of you who may also see something about yourself that you see, but they don't have the grace nor the skills or tools in how to communicate that in a way that doesn't re-traumatize you while you're learning how to move through it and make decisions of how you want to be and how you don't want to be. So you're very vulnerable. All right. So let's say, for example, you have a history of being, let's say, a hothead, right? That can be an annoying one, right? Because for those of us who are very passionate individuals, um, a lot of times you can be labeled as a hothead when really you have a lot of passion and have not learned how to be graceful with it, knowing when it needs to be lighting something on fire or when it needs to be just expressed in a louder volume and you need to change who you're around because they can't handle your passion. Or sometimes because you're a woman and not a guy, you're not allowed to be that boisterous or bold and confident about how you express it. And you're gonna have to pull that apart and see how you feel about it. But what happens is while you're like, yo, snap, like I really snapped too hard in situations where if I could have been a little more aware of exactly how I'm feeling and had more finesse with how I decided to deliver it as opposed to reacting, I might have been able to salvage that connection because there were other aspects of it that was feeding me in a positive way. But now here comes Sally, Aunt Sally saying, you the hothead. You the hothead. Oh man, here you go. You blown up. You the hothead. You crazy. All right. When you in the state of being very vulnerable and open, that you crazy, you a mess. Those vibrations have a living frequency. It's a frequency that you can pick up and they can become alive in your spirit. And now you're in a battle between you're crazy and out of control and a mess, and you're very vulnerable, right? Where now you can probably choose or have chosen in the past to do this. I'm just going to process everything and just be quiet. And every time somebody responds in a passionate way, I'm going to experience a bit of tension. I'm going to experience paranoia. I got this PTSD where someone raises their voice in the other room. I'm not sure what's going to happen. And your mind can break because there's just too many things happening at one time. And you're starting to lose the relationship between where you are and what's happening around you in the physical space and feeling all of the arrows coming out of other people's energy. And when you start to respond that way, where you burst out into tears and everyone's like, what the hell is going on with you? Because they can't see and feel what you're feeling, right? or you're experiencing, now that you've been like in your bubble for a while, your energy starts rising and people see you and you seem crazy to them because like, why the hell are you so freaking happy? You on drugs? And you like, nah. And then there you go back down, right? Experiencing the questioning yourself, doubting yourself. Am I tripping? Only because now you're in a space that does not support that creativity, that energy that's rising to help you harmonize the changes that are happening. So you need to be around people and environments that can support that protective bubble of energy around you. And one of the things is getting acquainted with energies that will protect you in exchange for the respectful agreement that they are a part of this increase in your psychic abilities. You follow? So it becomes increasingly absolutely necessary for you to have a consistent cleansing practice, all right? A resetting practice, and having conversations by yourself, with yourself, to organize the influx of information that is going to start to come towards you so that you can ground yourself, right? Body, mind, and spirit in what's happening. What's happening in a way where you can explain it to the physical people in a language that makes it clear that you are aware of yourself and you do not need anyone extra opinions and whatever, uninvited, unsolicited advice, okay? Where you can make solid, grounded decisions of whether having a counselor or a therapist is necessary while you are vulnerable and going through this process of upgrade, okay? Where you can make solid decisions of separating yourself from particular spaces, people, or circumstances, and you don't regret it. You don't feel enticed to get back into that space because you real clear, you real solid, you on your square about how and why that energy is not conducive to the space that you're in. All right? Because if you're going to be Superman, it's not that kryptonite can't exist. It's just that you need to know your relationship to the kryptonite. If you have a job to do and you know that the kryptonite exists, you know how to navigate properly. I hope that that analogy helped to make that clear as well, because you're not invincible. And as much as the gift of psychic ability is helpful, you're not invincible to the subtle energies of people, places, circumstances, or entities just because. There's going to be times where you'll have a learning experience which will teach you that you're not invincible until you learn how to protect yourselves from those things. So what I wanted to share with you all, because I get tired of my people going as far as being responsible and seeking mental health therapy and support, that they receive labels and that's it, right? They receive labels and a prescription. But in the outside of the African centered um spiritual and with African spirituality or true esoteric practices meets psychology, until those two are married in the space that you're going to, then you end up just with a prescription and somebody to talk to, but you don't really gain the tools in how to fully embrace those parts of yourself that are opening up to you. You understand? If you say you're seeing entities, you are by textbook a schizophrenic. If you experience high highs and low lows and emotional roller coasters, you are by textbook like bipolar. You understand? If you are easily triggered and you experience a lot of paranoia, yes, consistent trauma, including people lying to you, deception, people pulling the wool over your eyes, and now you can see, any existing PTSD is going to, in a sense, textbook Western psychology, become even more exacerbated because now you can see the bullshit a mile away, and you have to strengthen your relationship with your psychic abilities to take that for what it is and not second guess, or else you break the mind. But in order for you to do that, you're going to need to have true safe spaces that not only allow you to see where that pain stems from that is fueling the hypersensitivity, but how you transmute that pain into a gift that can serve you and that you can become master of. All right. The other part is, you remember I talked about incantations and callings, where you are saying to the subtle realm that I'm a vessel, that I'm opening myself up to be a host of, or a partner with, a companion of. Being under masterful guidance and following very clean steps of being in that space, it will help you to also eliminate the possibilities of unwelcome possession. Okay? Unwelcomed possession. Okay? All right. I kind of touched on the whole premise of possession, um, and what it is for a priest versus what it is for the non-initiated. That's a very, very powerful ability and can be dangerous as well. All right. So what I wanted to give you all was a short list of herbs and oils that you can include in your spaces for your body and your environment when and if you feel yourself in this space where you're a little too vulnerable, a little too sensitive, where you're losing the ability to take care of what you got to take care of. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all good until, you over there losing your shit and nobody knows about it. Don't do that. Okay. First want you to always feel safe and acknowledging when you feel like you've lost control over your environment, um, or you dealing with something like that, because it's helpful to the community as a collective when you're able to feel safe to do that. Two, um, I like to give y'all tools that'll be helpful, not just today, not just for one lesson, but like in life, period. Um, and sometimes you just need a reset. Some of y'all have the privilege of really shutting the world out and being in your own space, and you really hang around individuals who are on the same frequency. Like, it's paradise. And some individuals don't have that privilege, and they got to go into the Babylon and deal with all kind of shifty, shady characters, bring that home, deal with taking care of other people, and then finding a little window of time and space for themselves. Okay? So here's a couple of herbs and oils that you can keep on deck, keep in the cabinet. So that if you do make that call and say, I'm feeling just kind of energetically dirty, man, I feel kind of too heavy. If you hit me or you hit Baba T up, be like, all right, you got such and such? Yes, bet. Put that and that together, you know, give yourself a little respite. Okay? So here's the list. I want you to always keep basil on deck. Pine, and y'all can put this in the notes. Somebody could write this down. Cedar, patchouli, frankincense, and myrrh. I'm going to say it again. Basil, pine, cedar, patchouli, frankincense, and myrrh. All of these can be found in an oil form, in an herbal form, or resin form. All right? So that is all I wanted to offer y'all today. Amenta, don't forget to text me so I can send you a free oud. Y'all got any questions or feedback for me? Put your questions in the chat. Put your feedback in the HOC and RBL. I want to hear from you all, your takeaways from this lecture. You got that? Or no more downloads for y'all? Any questions? If you're not in the HOC, just hit me on my inbox at Chivatal on Facebook, and I will add you in there. Just in case your name is different on Facebook than it is on YouTube, just say that too. All right? So happy meditating, happy elevating, peace, love, and bliss to you all. I look forward to seeing your feedback. Peace.